Hey guys, welcome to another episode. I'm Health Coach Tony Rodriguez, aka Pro Coach T, and this is another episode of Cars, Coffee, and T2 Hacks, specifically where we talk about different strategies that you could use in your journey to manage and or reverse your type 2 diabetes. And one of the things I'd like to talk about today is the concept of eating to your meter. And one of the things I notice in some of the posts in a lot of the diabetes support groups are people that are newly diagnosed with type 2 diabetes or have been diagnosed for some time now, and they're questioning the importance of having a meter or how often they should be testing their blood sugar. And there seems to be some confusion there, and that's something that I'd like to talk about today, and this way shed some light on the importance of utilizing your blood sugar, your blood glucose meter on a regular basis, especially in the beginning when you're newly diagnosed, but not only when you're newly diagnosed, but also in your management arsenal, so to speak. It's one of the most important tools, if not the most important tools that you're going to, have. And what exactly is eating to your meter? And why is this important? Eating to your meter is simply an approach that involves checking your blood sugar level at different intervals throughout the day. And it's used as a tool to see what you ate and how your body responded to that food or meal. And it's usually done in a 1 hour or 2 hour or a combination of the two intervals after you ate, to simply see how high your blood sugar spiked and whether it stayed elevated. And the other way that it can be used is to check your fasting blood sugar level to see if there's something going on, such as something that you ate the night before that's still lingering, that's enabling you to have a higher sugar level in the morning, or you're suffering from that what's called dawn phenomenon. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about the importance of eating to your meter. Why? That's the biggest question. Why is it important? In order to successfully manage and reverse your diabetes, which I talked about in my previous premiere episode, that reversal is possible for most. But let's talk about management right now. In order for you to successfully manage this disease that we all share, you need to keep your blood sugar level like this. There should be minimal spikes, and you should know how your body responds to certain foods. Now, in my experience, what I have found is many times when we're newly diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, we're given a list of foods that we can or cannot eat. And for the most part, that is a good representation of foods that we have to avoid and that we can eat. But we are all different. And what may spike me and spike my blood sugar level may not necessarily spike you. For instance, there was a gentleman in the one of the diabetes support groups that talked about how he's able to drink beer on a regular basis, and it's not even the light variety. This is a draft beer that he drinks on a regular basis. He checks his sugar level, and he does not have a significant rise in his blood sugar level. Personally speaking, if I were to do that, I would definitely spike. How do I know? Because I have checked myself in the past. So there may be foods, there may be meals that many of us are avoiding needlessly. And it has been my experience as a trainer, and now in addition to being a trainer, as a health coach, is deprivation often leads to people falling off the wagon. So if, let's say for instance, you love oatmeal. Now for, the common misconception is that 100% we have to avoid oatmeal as those with diabetes. But that may not necessarily be the case. Because what they're finding is that, and in recent studies shows that we're all different and our bodies respond differently to different foods. There's a company in Israel that is now conducting studies and has come up with a kit that's based on the microbiome in our stomach. And you submit a stool sample, and based on the results of that stool sample, they tell you the foods that are compatible to you as a person with diabetes and what you can eat. And it's very interesting because you can have two people with diabetes and one person can have a banana and the other person cannot. So without doing that exam, without doing that test, I should say, what are the options? The option is to eat to your meter, so that you start to develop a plan and you start to discover what is compatible for you or not. And this way you're not depriving yourself. But more importantly, you're not eating foods that are elevating your sugar level to, a high level. And here's the problem with type 2 diabetes. Unless your blood sugar level is extremely high, it's almost asymptomatic. You don't feel it. It's subtle. For over 25 years, I was walking around with a blood sugar level probably averaging about 300 every day, because I ate whatever the hell I wanted to eat. And I thought that, because I was a bodybuilder and I could, train and everything would be okay. I was foolish. I was a fool for thinking that. But that's the danger of this disease, is that just like hypertension, unless your blood pressure is extremely high, you're going to walk around thinking everything is cool. And that's what happens, and that's the danger with diabetes, because until all the effects of it start coming, and that's what happened with me. It all hit me like gangbusters. My vision, my heart, my feet, neuropathy, everything hit me at once. But until you get to that point, the symptoms are subtle, and that's the danger. So you need to check your blood sugar level on a regular basis. Is this something you have to do for the rest of your life, 7 times a day? Absolutely not. I already know that one slice of whole wheat toast is fine. It will elevate me slightly, but within 2 hours, my blood sugar is back down under 100. But if I had 2 slices, I stay elevated over at least 140 2 hours after I consume, those 2 slices of bread. So that pretty much is the general guideline. You check yourself 2 hours after you eat something, and if you're not at least 130, 125, you check yourself after you eat, and then check it once again. The best thing to do is establish a baseline. See where you are before you eat. See where you're spiked at the 1 hour mark, and then check it again in 2 hours to see if it's come down from that. If it hasn't, then for all intents and purposes, you need to avoid that food. That's pretty much it. And once you do that, you start to see what is compatible to you that you can eat and what you have to keep away from. Because at the end of the day, what's our goal? Our goal is to be in a low insulin state throughout the day. We don't want these spikes, because that's what's going to mess us up. Keep in mind that insulin is a fat-storing hormone. So the more insulin that we have in our bloodstream, the more likely that we're going to be gaining weight. That's another post, another discussion that we're going to have. But for today, I implore you, get your meter, check yourself, write it down, start developing a journal for yourself to see what you're eating and how your body responds. We cannot let this disease take over our lives. We can't. And this is considered your meter, your main weapon, your sword going into battle. Knowledge is power, but without action, the knowledge doesn't mean squat. Okay, guys? I want to leave you with that thought. Love you all, and I'll be back with some more cars, coffee, and T2 hacks. Take it easy, everyone. Bye-bye.